Five, four, three, two, one. I'm Lord Maitreya, the hip hop futurist. You're now tuned into the Super Longevity Institute podcast. This evening, it's an honor to have our guest, author and CEO of the publishing house, Respect the Pen. Lou Black was born in Harlem amidst the crack era of the mid 80s and 90s. It was there he and his friends learned to navigate the pitfalls and dangers the streets had to offer. Ethylene gives you a look through Lou Black lens as he tells this tragic story of how four of his friends and family didn't survive this cautionary tale. It's both his message and wake up call to anyone contemplating a fast life. Ethylene, the rise and fall of the N.F.L crew. What's going on, Lou Black? Good to see you,
What's going
man.
on, Lord?
Yo, man, you heard about that? It's this story right now that the book Ethylene and what we're about to talk about is right on time because we just lost another hip hopper, King Von from Chicago. He got shot and killed in Atlanta. So this we definitely need to tell our own stories and give these cautionary tales to leave the street life alone. Especially if you got great talent, you don't need to be in the streets.
Yeah, that's definitely true. That's one of the things that I not regret, but I see with other people like wasted talent. If you have a talent, you shouldn't waste it on the street life, man.
Exactly.
It's a waste.
That's right. What? Tell us what blocks you from in Harlem.
I was born on 139th Street between Lenox and 7th Avenues.
Wow.
That's where I grew up. For the first 4 years of my life, I grew up there, and
Mm.
then when I was like 4 years old, my mother and I we moved to Brooklyn.
Mm.
I moved to East New York in
Wow.
Brooklyn, and I stayed there till I was like 17, 18 years old. And I moved back to Harlem to my aunt's house,
Wow.
and I just that's why I was basically I became into the streets and stuff like that when I moved back to Harlem. I was like 17, 18 years old.
Wow. That's usually yeah. Wow. That's a very impressionable time period in every man's life that lives in the inner city. 16, 17. Um, what made you want to be an author and a self publisher? That's not easy to do. I'll tell you that right now. It ain't easy to write a novel. A novel. No. I'll tell you. Word up. I
Well,
couldn't do it.
yeah, you could do it. Anybody could do it.
Yeah.
Well, when I wrote my first book, when I wrote Ethylene, um, I really wrote it because I had just lost my cousin
Mm.
and to gun violence, to the streets,
Mm.
and I wrote it really as therapy. It was therapeutic for me because I just wanted to get my feelings out, and I wanted to tell the story of of how being indulged in the street life, how the path that it can lead you to, is very sad. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I wrote it because I also wanted to warn, people coming up behind me,
That's right.
behind us, like, don't make the choices that we make. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's like it's not even worth it. Four people that I love dearly, they're gone. You know what I
Mm.
mean? And I just was tired. I was tired of it. I was tired of losing people that I love and whatnot. So I just put the story out. Just it's like I said, it was therapeutic for me.
Mm.
And as far as just, I mean, I never really knew that I could write like that. You know what I mean?
Wow.
I just like drawing from books that I've read
Mm.
and, just trying to, I don't know. I did the best that I felt that I could do at the time. And, I mean, everybody told me that they liked it. It was a good story and whatnot. And I mean, I'm, I'm glad people recognize that I did a good job because
Sure
that's what
did.
that's what I tried to achieve. But that was it. I wrote the book out of being I was in mourning actually. You know what I
Wow.
mean?
No, I do.
I did it for therapy.
Yeah, I feel you on that, man. I read the book in one day. I didn't even I bought the book digitally and read it in one book. I couldn't one day. I couldn't even put it down.
Oh yeah.
That's how. How did you even come up with it? Ethylene is a different name, yo. I was like, Lou Black is on some other stuff, man. How did you come up with that title, man?
Well, The way I came up with the title was, you've heard the expression, how one bad apple spoils the whole bunch.
Mm.
So when I looked that up, that was the concept that I was thinking.
Mm.
And when I looked it up,
Mm.
and it turns out that that's a true statement.
Wow.
And what happens is when a fruit is rotting or is fermenting, it releases a hormonous gas called ethylene,
Wow.
and that gas will make another fruit rot quicker.
That's
So
crazy.
that's what gave me the concept of ethylene.
Wow, that's ill. I mean, thanks for breaking that down. That just gives me a whole new you or some other stuff. Yeah, that
Yeah,
just gave me
people
a whole new
people say
perspective.
that all the time, but it's like, to me, it's like I didn't feel like it was nothing. I knew that was the concept, and I
That's
always I
bananas.
always heard that expression ever since I was a kid. One bad apple spoils the whole bunch. Basically, it's saying like you associate with bad people. That's what older people used to tell that you associate with bad people, you're gonna do bad things, or what I'm saying, that bad things are gonna happen.
Right.
So that always stuck with me. Even though I didn't always listen, but that stuck with me, and that was the concept. So when I just looked
Wow.
it up, and I wondered if that was true, if that really actually happened, and it just so happens that that was true. So I said, that's what I'm gonna use. I'm gonna call the book Ethylene, and it's gonna
Wow.
do exactly what I wanted to do. And I wanted people to ask questions. I wanted them
Right.
to ask, "What does that mean?" And that's what it is. Almost everybody asked me, "Where did you get that from?"
Yeah, that's ingenious. I mean, the tell around the it's just like this could happen to anybody. If you're coming up and if you're coming up in the inner city, you're poor, you don't have a lot of money, you're trying to find ways to make ends meet. You come from a single parent household. This happens. This is like a tale that I see happening all over the place. But let me let me ask you this question. Um, your nonfiction novel, Ethylene, who are the main characters in the novel? Walk us through a brief storyline from rise to fall. Because my audience, they don't know about this story. Some of my audience doesn't know about the story.
Okay, the the basis of the story really is, it's about how we grew up in the block. The block was 139th Street between Lenox and 7th Avenue, and we were just kids. It was a lot of us. We just grew up together.
Mm,
But then we got to a certain age. Some of us, most of us, went the street life. We took to the street life.
mm,
Um, the four main characters in the book, or the four people who passed away in the book,
mm,
was, first it was Reggie,
mm,
then it was Big L,
mm.
then Leroy, and then Gerard.
Wow.
Um, so it's based on all of us, but those are the four main characters that really, it was like the gist of the book. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
That was like the meat and potatoes, and that really what I wanted to get across to people, that these are the people that I lost because of the streets.
Can you tell the people who Big L was?
Big L was a very talented rapper.
Mm,
He, lyrically, I would say that if he would have survived the streets,
mm.
um he probably would have been up there. He was
Yeah.
very talented, really, really good wordplay,
Yeah.
metaphors and stuff like that. He was good for the short period of time that he was in the game.
Mm.
Um, and he he was one of the ones who, he fell to the streets, just being involved and not being. He wasn't really involved, but he was involved enough, and that was his downfall.
His big brother was Lee, right?
Yes,
Big Lee. Um, they both grew up together on 139th, right?
yes.
Um, let me see. Oh, yeah, they formed a crew called the N.F.L crew. What did N.F.L stand for?
NFL stood for niggas for life.
What made them come up with that name? And was Big L a part of that crew?
Yeah, he was part of the crew,
Mm,
just because we all grew up together. It wasn't
mm,
like uh, we were a gang or anything like that. It
right.
was just that it was like, instead of saying this is my brother for life,
Mm,
this is my homie for life,
mm,
like this is my nigga, this is my nigga for life. Like we we
right.
we were we were tight like that. Our bond was tight. So
Right.
it was like this is my nigga for life. That's how we came up with that.
Right. Yo, with childhood friends and your through NFL crew, they threw parties, right?
Yeah, that's what happened was, we had all went, not all of us, but like four of us went to prison. When we
Mm,
came home, while we were in prison, a lot of crews from Harlem, they were throwing parties.
mm,
You had the Best Out crew, same gang, Slick and the Family. It was a bunch of crews throwing parties,
wow.
and so when we came home, a couple of us decided that we wanted to throw parties too, but like we didn't have a name though.
Right.
So my cousin TC, he came up with the name,
Mm,
Niggas for Life, and NFL Niggas for Life,
mm,
and we threw a few parties and stuff like that, but it never our name was never out there big like the other crews. Like they were
mm.
known more for throwing the parties and whatnot. But
And
that's where it originated from.
wow, that's when New York actually had a better nightlife. Now I feel like the kids don't have a they don't really have a nightlife. They don't like that party scene of Harlem, all these different crews throwing parties and stuff like that. That don't really exist today like it did back in the day. I would like to see that come back, you know. But
Now, in the past few years, the last decade or so, it's really promoters.
mm,
Like promoters have done it. They've
oh, I
really
see.
taken over. But like back, well, in Harlem, like, that was like just like local, like just the local
Mm,
crew used to do that with each other, and everybody knew each other. Everybody used to go to the same part. Everybody used to go to everybody's party, so it was like it was a local thing.
right.
But you have promoters who do that locally, and then you got promoters who like they're all over the place.
Wow.
So, but that was just a little local thing back then in the early '90s.
And Dame Dash lived not too far from you.
Well, Dame, I think Dame was from the east side of Harlem. He's from
Mm,
East Harlem,
right.
but he used to hang out with the Best Out crew. He was part of the
Mm,
Best Out crew, and they were from 142nd Street
mm,
and Lenox Avenue.
mm.
So he was associated with them.
Um, did where did TC and Gerard live?
39th Street.
All four of the main characters, lived in the same block also.
Yes.
Um, you know what? I wonder what do you think could have prevented these beefs between childhood friends? Like how do they go from being childhood friends to mortal enemies, wanting to kill each other? That's crazy. They come from the same place.
Yeah, well, in this case, um, I mean, I couldn't really tell, but the only conclusion that I drew was that it was about jealousy. Uh,
Mm,
uh, and sometimes a person might not be jealous of you because of what you have, but they could be jealous of you because of the way you live your life, or they could be jealous of you or the way people love you or gravitate
mm,
toward you
right, right.
and things like that. So in this case, I think it was a case of envy and jealousy
Mm,
more than just like like a real. It wasn't. I don't. It wasn't like a beef. Like if someone was crossed. It was like I think it originated from just being envious.
that's wow. I mean, we see that throughout history of how destructive that emotion envy is, and we still perpetuate the same type of emotions. It seems like humans can't get away from this very destructive um, character flaw. Um,
Yeah, I mean, that's been going on since the beginning of time. I mean,
yeah,
if you believe in the Bible, Cain killed Abel,
that's right.
his
That's right.
brother,
That's right.
because of jealousy.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So that's been going on since the beginning of time.
Wow. Um, do you think that Big Lee could have did more to shield his younger brother Big L from the street life?
I believe that I believe that he did.
Mm,
Um, he me personally, me knowing both of them, he didn't want him in the street. I don't believe
mm,
he wanted him in the street.
mm,
But when he went to prison,
mm.
when you're in prison, you're very limited to what you can do for yourself.
Right, right.
You know what I mean?
I know,
So
I know what you
most
mean.
everything has to be done for you.
Right.
So because his hands was tied and he was incarcerated,
Mm,
he had to have somebody to do things for him. And it
wow.
just so happens that he involved L in something that he shouldn't have been involved in.
Right, right. It's very unfortunate. Yeah, because instead of focusing on the street life, street business, he could have just focused on his talent. We all was
Yeah.
listening. And I think the last time I seen Big L, because my grandmother used to live on 140th Street and 7th. And one time I was walking down the block and I seen him outside that park that he always used to call the danger zone.
Hmm.
He had a short sleeve Coogee sweater on. I will never forget it. I think was Lee alive at the time? I'm not sure if Lee was alive, but that's the last time I see him. Cause I used to see him all the time, and sometimes I
You
would
all,
talk to him. I used to be like, "Yo, man, you dope. You keep going, man." We used to stop and
yeah,
see him all the time. He used to be like, "Yo, man, keep going. You definitely got talent." And so
yeah.
I never understood why he just didn't focus on his talent. Didn't he know that that was his ticket? He had to know.
I mean, I'm pretty sure he did.
Mm-hmm.
He was confident, and he he knew what he had. I believe
Right.
he knew what he had. I believe he was confident, and uh, right before his demise, he was supposed to sign with Rockefeller,
Wow.
and because Dame Dash recognized his talent, and if that collabo would have happened, then
Mm-hmm.
who knows what his career would have gone to, where it could have gone, taken him. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? He was, like I said, he was that talented. And then I think, no disrespect to who he did music with before, but being around, being exposed to other producers. I'm not gonna say better, but other
Right.
producers,
Right.
and with Dame being able to take him, other places and whatnot,
Mm.
he probably would have his career would have went to another level.
Yeah, I agree. I remember that. I was happy for him too. I was like, damn, he about to sign a Rockefeller. It's all in the family. It's a Harlem thing. Dame is doing the right thing by reaching back and trying to lift his brothers up that got the talent and putting in work. I was like, yeah, let's. I was like, yo, man, this is gonna be good. I was waiting for that. We was waiting for
Right.
that to happen. And so when he had passed, man, we was just like, damn, another great talent. Um,
Right.
oh, can you share with us the legendary battle between Jay Z and Big L?
Well, I'm not sure because I think people had told me that one time they battled inside the park.
Mm,
Now I wasn't there, but I was there when they battled on 140th Street and Lenox Avenue.
wow.
This is like when Dame had, Dame was, he would take Jay around to different people, different neighborhoods or whatever. He would let him battle anybody.
Mm,
And I just happened to be walking by, and
mm,
Dame and Jay, they were there on Lenox,
mm,
and somebody went and got L and brought him over there, and
mm.
they battled. Now Jay went first, and this was at the time when he was nowhere near the level that he is now. And Jay is my favorite rapper. I mean,
Oh,
I always admit that he's my favorite rapper.
wow.
Um, but this is the time when he was like just coming out of original flavor
I remember that.
time in
Yeah.
his life, and he was rapping that fast, like jigga the J, jigga the A,
Mm,
and to me, I mean, that was he didn't have all the wordplay and all of that stuff that he has now, and like
Mm-hmm.
he's way past that level.
Definitely,
So
he
he
mastered the
rhymed
craft.
first, and then L rhymed. But when L rhymed, I left. I didn't stay to hear his whole rhyme because
Mm,
I walked away for something. Um, so I couldn't even tell you the who won
mm,
or how well L did in the battle or whatnot. I couldn't
right.
tell, but there was a time when they were on uh, Bobito. What's
Oh,
it
Stretch
was
Armstrong and Bobito.
it was on their show,
Yeah, that's a dope. That
and
was
they
a dope
weren't
show.
really. They say they weren't really. It wasn't a battle, but they kept going back and forth.
Yeah, I remember that. That was
And
crazy.
and Jay was spitting, and this one he was to me he was better. He was way better.
Yeah,
Jay would spit, and L would go, and he would go back and forth, and that was legendary. Now that was crazy,
yeah, that
and
was
that I
crazy.
think I think that's on YouTube. You can find that on YouTube, I believe.
Yeah, I've
Stretch
heard
and
it.
Bobbito, they had a special on Netflix, I believe, a couple of years ago, and they talked about that's like that was one of their most
Mm,
uh, memorable um, shows, the Jay Z and Big L battle.
that was crazy. I heard it. I still listen to that sometimes.
Right.
I still listen to that. What do you want to say to hip hoppers who have that one foot in the streets and one foot in the music industry? Isn't that like a recipe for disaster? Especially reading this book.
I mean, we've been saying that since the interview started. It's like
Yeah.
it's 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 wasted talent. Like
Right.
if you have if you have the know-how
Mm,
or the recipe or like the talent, you have that to get you out of the hood, then to not use that, to not utilize that and let it take you there, to me is it's a waste. You know what I mean? Like
mm,
a guy who plays professional sports.
mm.
These rappers, they walk around with guns. I don't understand that. They
It's
walk around with
crazy.
guns. They want to have drugs, and just like look at Jewels. He just
Mm,
came home. He did 17 months because he had a book. He had a gun in his book bag going in the airport. Now, why you need a
wow.
we first of all, this is just me.
Mm,
I mean, maybe not everything is not as it appears, but if you have money the way you have it,
mm.
why don't you just hire security?
Exactly.
Why you got to walk around with a gun? You can hire
Yeah.
security. You could hire an off-duty police officer
That's right.
who would gladly stay with you for $100 an hour
Yeah.
and walk around with you, or $200 an hour. You could afford it.
Mm,
You wear $50,000 chains around your neck and $40,000 watches. You could definitely afford to pay somebody to be with you for a couple of hours when you outside.
that's right.
Why would you walk around with a gun yourself? To
That's
me,
right.
it's like, what are you trying to prove? That you still tough, or you still
Yeah.
keeping it real? You still hood? You still gangster? Like gangsters, gangsters
Mm,
either they dead or they in jail.
that's right.
You know what I mean? And the ones who are really about that life, they want to get out of that life.
That's right.
They don't want to be there. They want to go. So and you have the opportunity to be there. There's no reason to go back. Like
That's right.
I don't see the point in reaching back in that aspect. Reach back to help somebody. Don't
That's
reach
right.
back to be there with them.
Yeah.
Like
That's right.
if you release if you have a whole house that's white furniture, white carpet, and everything is clean and pristine, and you let some pigs run in there that just came from the mud, the pigs are not gonna get clean.
That's right.
The house is gonna get dirty.
That's right.
So if you make it out, what's the point in going back there?
Yeah, I totally agree, man. And you know, I really think that this book, your book, Ethylene, the rise and fall of the N.F.L crew. This needs to be we gotta bring this to the big screen. This has to be a documentary and a movie. Anybody who's listening that's into filmmaking is on that level. I mean, I'm talking about real professional filmmakers, man. Dame Dash, where you at, man? You did shout outs to A and Tone and Pretty Tone, Pretty, you know what I'm saying? I know you did the Paid in Full movie, but this movie is on a, you gotta do this movie. You gotta do Ethylene, man. You have to do Ethylene, man. You from
I mean
around the
that.
way, you gotta do Ethylene. And Lou Black didn't even put me up. He didn't tell me to do this. You know what I'm saying? I did this on my own. I thought about this on my own. I said, yo, man, this gotta be a movie. I want to see this on a big screen, man.
I mean, ultimately, that would be, that would be my dream for one of my books to, or both of them actually, to be on the screen, whether it be a movie or a series or something. I mean, that would be the ultimate dream come true for me. And everybody who reads the book, I'm not trying to, brag or anything like that. But everybody who reads the book says the same thing, that this should be a movie or it should be a series or something. Definitely want to see it on the screen. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I definitely appreciate this 100%. Your
I
support and
appreciate your book, man.
yeah, I
Both of them.
appreciate
What filmmakers would you like to see produce this movie?
it. I'm to be honest, I would love to see Ethylene as um, a limited series because it does have a
Mm,
beginning and an end.
okay.
So if it was a limited series, like I don't know, like last year, 2 years ago, they had a limited series on Death Row.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think it was on USA. It was on one of those channels, one of those cable
Mm-hmm.
channels.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone was to do a limited series like that, I would like for man, I had people in mind before. Uh someone who really has a mind and like an edge for the streets.
Right.
Um I don't know who actually did the production or did the movie, but I liked how Superfly was done because the
Mm,
movie Superfly, the new Superfly, how it was done, it was um it was it was modern.
mm,
It was, and it was, to me, nothing was really over exaggerated. It wasn't overly, it wasn't too violent, it wasn't
right.
too sexy. To me, it was just enough.
Right. Right.
Um I don't know the actual creators of the movie and whatnot, but I wouldn't mind them doing it. But also who I had in mind just
Mm,
came to me again. The Tate brothers. They had their
mm,
own film company, and I like the way they made. There's a movie that he made with him and Making Good. The
mm.
title slips my mind right now. Um, but they have their own film company. The three brothers, Lamar, Lorenz, and man, I forget. They're gonna kill me.
The Tate brothers.
It's
No, I
Lamar,
heard.
Lorenz, and I forgot the other one.
No, I'm trying to. I heard
Laurent.
these names before.
Yeah, Lorenz Tate.
Yeah.
Lorenz Tate. He's an actor.
Yeah. Yeah. He's a good actor too.
Yeah. Matter of fact, he plays in Power. He plays
Right. Right.
the councilman in Power.
Right. Right.
Um, so they have their own company, and like
Mm,
they're young, and they know about the streets. And Lorenz Tate has played roles like this before. He's old dog. You know what
right.
I mean? He's old dog.
Right.
So he's played roles like this before, so he knows, what I would be looking for. I think that they would be great
Mm,
to work with. You know what I mean? I had thought about Tyler Perry too,
yeah.
but I think that Tyler Perry is more. He's more of it's more family to me,
Mm,
like with him. Like he's more of and comedy.
mm,
I like some of the comedic stuff that he does. The serious stuff that has been done, I like some of it too. But like, I didn't really get into it as much as I like the
mm.
comedic stuff. I don't know. I can't get Medea out of my head when I think about Tyler Perry.
Yo, but you know
You
what?
know what I mean?
I mean, his production. I mean, I think he would probably he need. It would be dope for him to step out of his. Step out of what he usually does. This would be dope. Everyone knows that the Big L story, just the NFL story in itself is used to our culture, and so I don't know how much he knows about hip hop, but he has the the money to fund something to the right way.
Oh yeah, definitely. He has a little Hollywood,
Yeah,
basically. He got his own
yeah,
studio down in Atlanta. Like that's something that I would love to do, to go down. I don't know if they do that, if they have tours and whatnot,
that
especially
would
with
be
this in this
dope.
pandemic. But I would love to go down to his studio and tour and to see what he created, because what he's done is historic.
Yeah.
That is historic. He's a black man who took basically the blueprint of Hollywood and gave it, and he's making it possible for every black person or whatever,
Hmm.
a creator, and from every level. I'm talking about from the guy who holds the microphone all the way up to the writer, producer, whatever. He's created that whole world for
Hmm.
everybody to live out their talent and their dream or whatever. And I mean, he's that's historic. That's great.
Yeah, it definitely is.
I would
Um,
love to be a part of that.
Love check and balances. What's that book about?
Um, Love Checks and Balances is, first of all, when the inspiration for this book came from once I wrote Ethylene,
Mm,
and I I had like a writing bug, you know what I mean?
mm,
So it's like I felt like, okay, I did that. I just kept writing.
mm,
So Love Checks and Balances is a story. It's different, way different from Ethylene, because
mm.
like I said, when I wrote Ethylene, it's a sad story. It's
Yes, it
tragic.
is.
Love Checks and Balances is like it's the opposite. When I
Mm,
wrote that, I had fun writing it. You know what I mean? Like I
mm,
said, I had a bug, so
right.
I had fun creating, and this
Mm,
was a totally different experience for me creating this than when I wrote Ethylene.
mm,
Um, Love Checks and Balances is like 65 to 75% true or based on truth, and I did some embellishing. You know what I mean?
right.
Just to make to me, to try to make the story more entertaining.
Definitely. I
So
understand.
Love Checks and Balances basically is about a guy
Mm,
who he's in the drug game,
mm,
and he's also in a relationship
mm,
with two women,
mm,
and he goes to prison. One woman leaves him, one stays with him,
mm,
and but when he comes home, he tries to he tries to be in a relationship with one of the women
mm,
and balance his lifestyle. He comes back and he tries to get into the drug game again, but it doesn't work for him.
mm,
So his friend introduces him to the check game,
mm,
and he tries to balance that life of trying to be a good guy,
mm,
and also he has one foot in the house and
mm,
one foot out the door,
mm,
still in the and he because he still he that street life
mm,
and that hustle, it has a
mm.
hold on him, it has a grip on him.
Right.
No matter how good he tries to be and be in a relationship with this woman and do right by her, he's still a street guy. So
Mm,
it's like he's trying to balance it. Love checks and he's trying to balance that life.
mm,
And I just like I said, it was this book was more fun writing
mm.
than than Ethylene. It was way different, and I just like I said, I had a little bug, so I
The first
I
thing that
kept
came to
writing.
mind when I heard the title, I just kept thinking about Egyptian culture, Mahat. They used to call it. Even though I'm into, I'm like a citizen scientist, I'm a futurist, but I like Egyptian culture. I like to go back in history and read about what Egypt was about, the dynasties, what the pharaohs was about, and they had a thing called Mahat where they weighed your heart at the end of your life,
Oh
and
yeah.
yeah, it's called Mahat. It was yeah, that was part of the Egyptian culture, and if your heart was heavy, you couldn't exist in the afterlife, something like that, something to that nature, and if your heart was light, you were able to go to the next level. Yeah, so you just had that. It was all about balance, checks and balances, the idea of
Mhm.
Manhattan, and I don't know why I thought that's the first thing that came to my mind when I thought about the title. I thought it was a deep title. Um,
Right.
so you have a publishing company. Do you ever are you ever thinking about publishing other people's works?
I mean, that I wouldn't turn it down. You know what I mean? I
Okay.
definitely wouldn't turn it down. Um, but I don't really have. I'm not gonna. I'm never one to try to be something that I'm not.
Right.
I don't really have the experience to take on someone else's project and try to put it, because everything that I do, I self promote and I do
Right.
everything myself. That might not be enough for someone else.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? I do what I do. I create, and I put it out there. The only promotion that I have is my social media page. I have
Mm-hmm.
Facebook and I have Instagram. That's all I have,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what I do. I definitely didn't go that route with Ethylene. All I did was write Ethylene.
Wow.
I didn't I didn't do any type of promotion, any type of publicity that the book got is because people who are just like you reached out to me to do this
Mm-hmm.
interview.
Right.
People reached out to me about the book.
Wow.
I didn't reach out to anybody. From the first day that I put the book out, I released it, people reached out to me.
Wow.
So I did an interview in a magazine, Felon Magazine. Shout out to Jewel
No doubt.
from Felon Magazine, and he was the first person to reach out to me.
Wow.
And from that Felon Magazine interview, I had the guy from Info Minds. Shout out to Jay from Info Minds. I
That
hope
was
you don't mind me.
crazy. That was crazy.
Yeah, Info Minds. He did a document. He did an episode on NFL. That all came from people reaching out to me,
Wow.
because to me, I didn't write that book to be famous. I didn't write the book to
Mm-hmm.
make money. I wrote the book because of I lost my four friends, my loved ones,
Mm-hmm.
and I just wanted to tell our story. That was it.
Yeah.
Now, love checks and balances is totally different. Like,
Mm.
it's anything goes with love checks and balances. People, I'll promote. I
Mm-hmm.
had a book signing,
Wow.
a book release party, not a party, but a book release for love checks and balances. I didn't do any of that with Ethylene, because that
Mm.
was not my goal. It wasn't. I didn't do that to be famous or do anything like that.
Mm.
Um, but like I said, love checks and balances was totally different. I have uh, the goal is to take it as far as it can go.
Yeah. I mean, telling our stories are very important because Hollywood don't always see the benefit in our stories, and we need to tell these precautionary tales to our children to
Right.
give them an idea of what not to do. Every culture has that. They have these allegory stories, or they have stories that really happen, and that will teach you something about how to be an upstanding person. You know what I'm saying? Man, this story, man, it it morally what it showed me is the importance of being a good big brother. You gotta have you know what I'm saying? Your big brother gotta be solid, man, in the city, and have to show you the right way to go. And money and drugs always poisons relationships, man. I don't know nobody who got into that game and they didn't have friction within their same in their same group of people. Like they was beefing with their friends before before they got in the game. They were friends. When they got after they got in the game, it was just chaos. So Lou Black, man, I'm gonna spread this all over the place. This message all over the place. Um, I definitely need to get more copies so I could just give them out. You know what I'm saying? I want to just give Ethylene out. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that it's that important of a story. I'm definitely gonna leave a link in the description so people could go and buy and purchase the book if they're
Thank you. I
interested in
appreciate
it.
that.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'm definitely gonna do that. And do you have anything to say before we head out?
Um, I mean, I just want to thank you. You know what I mean? I appreciate
Pleasure.
you, you know, just the support, and and the fact that you like the story enough to even consider me
Mm,
is an honor. You know what I mean? I'm thankful and I'm humble, and I'm thankful for anybody who appreciates your work. You
no
know what I mean?
doubt.
Like, so I mean, I'm thankful to that, and just like you said from the beginning, we don't. Well, I don't want people to repeat our mistakes.
That's
You know
right.
what I mean? We make mistakes, and not even mistakes. We make bad choices. We make
Right.
bad decisions growing up, and um, I don't want people to repeat that.
That's
And
right.
anybody learns anything and takes anything from this interview, from the book, or anything that I ever say, that's the main message,
No
is
doubt.
to, just do not. It's not. Don't get involved in the streets. It's not even worth it. You
That's
know what I
right.
mean?
That's right.
That's the main thing.
Well, you heard it first. You heard it from the man himself. This is Super Longevity Institute podcast. The rise and fall of NFL crew. Ethylene. One apple does spoil the bunch, y'all. All right, I'm out. Lou Black, thank you, man. We're gonna have you back on again.
I appreciate you, man.
No doubt. One love, yo. Single out salute.
Take care. All right.